You know, I haven't really been able to use this word proper in a review until now, but Dokomushi is the bleakest manga I have had the pleasure of reading to date. Some would describe it as the most disturbing manga of all time. And I mean, it was until around chapter 10 when it just became a shmentai comic, which is commonly called a doujinshi in the anime manga sphere, even though a doujinshi is an unofficial fan work of a pre-existing media. But it's available under the Action Comics publishing name and in manga format, in manga shops, and in baguses across Japan, so what the hell? I mean, like, Outlast had a lot of dick just like this, so I mean, I guess it makes sense. The scans that I got, I had to double make sure that they were good to go because of this stuff that is included within this manga. Like, at one point, it just gets nonstop for like a solid like 30 fucking chapters. I swear to God. And it just gets worse. So let me just cut all the bullshit and explain everything. Dokomushi is about 7 people from all different walks of life gathered to an abandoned sealed school building that has been entirely empty, save for one room on the 3rd floor, which I'll get to in a little bit. A large clock ticking down from 7 days resides at the end of the classroom that our characters wake up, and at their disposal is nothing, yet running water in the bathrooms, with all the school facilities and faculties having been removed from the desks to the toilet paper, including that small bit of chalk that would be near the blackboard. It's entirely empty. But one of the crucial facets is also missing. Food. But with the clock ticking down from 7 days, all 7 of our characters can escape with their lives, only suffering from heavy starvation and malnourishment if they can stave off their hunger. At one point, they decided to do a large sweep of the building, splitting into 2 teams for the 1st and 2nd floor, but regrouping into one for the final 3rd floor. And to their horrors, the last room is covered in plastic sheeting, save for one small square on the floor that has a chain bolted to the ground, and at the other hand resides a large meat cleaver. Within the center of the room resides a hot pot, sitting above a small induction stove. Cameras resting in the far corners of each and every room as blood and tears, along with other bodily fluids, fall to the floor to the bodies of every character that awakens within Class 1-3, while one man resides in another room, watching the horrors in delight. Now, with that description, you could probably get why I can barely show you any scans for DokuMushi. But for the one in the back on his smartphone, yeah, I see you. Take out your earphones, buddy. I did too. Now I can't even hear when I pop the fucking mic. In layman's terms, every single taboo. This was written in 2013, so some of the taboos within the manga aren't taboos. There's really only one that isn't considered one anymore, depending on who you would ask. Which means also almost every single taboo is given some form of screen time. Let me give you just a little short rundown. Murder, occult matters, lolicon, suicide, homosexual relations, 2013. Not Salem, but also where Japan isn't today to be openly gay. Pedophilia, necrophilia, physical abuse, and the big one, or what some would consider the big one, rape, graphically shown in the very first volume, by the way. And by that little set list, some of you may be thinking, no, nobody is in reality. Wow, golly gee, where can I get me some of that disturbing manga work? Well, you can't. It hasn't been officially released in English, and I doubt that it ever will. Not by Viz, hell, maybe by Dark Horse. They seem like the fuckers that are nuts enough to do this. Hey, Dark Horse. Big fan. Please. Your boy's a free agent. Anyways. It hasn't been officially released, neither on paper nor digitally in English, which, in short, if you can't get 8 from 4 and 2, it's technically illegal to read this manga in English. My good noodle card of no piracy has been tarnished. Fuck. I mean, it already was when I caught up on Nagatoro, but who's counting? So I can't provide links nor sources to read this on your own, but I also can't provide many scans because it's so damn graphic. Either it's mentioned verbally and frighteningly descriptive, or it's shown on screen. Normally, I would pay no mind showing gore or a pair of anime titties on the screen, as I have done many times. Cough, cough, berserk. Cough, cough, somewhat fist of the North Star, but we don't talk about that. But with Dokomushi, it is all very, very detailed. It's not like some red paste from JoJo's or walking blood sacks from Berserk. Like, you can see the bones, the joints, the individual veins and arteries, and there's a lot of unnerving detail in the gore. And with the nudity, it's fairly standard, just uncensored breasts. With the nudity, it's fairly standard, like, uncensored breaths. Like, with the nudity, it's all very standard, uncensored breaths and precarious angles, along with some full censorship around the male members, but there's none around the somewhat hidden female members. Which, don't get me wrong, I do not mind uncensored doujinshi I said the word. I do not mind uncensored doujinshi nor shmentai. But not everyone in this manga is of legal age, I'll put it. I mean, you probably got that from me rattling off the taboo stuff that's included. And there's no good person out of our 6 characters. Again, 2013 and in Japan. There is a hostess prostitute, an occult-obsessed salaryman, a lolicon otaku, a spineless cheater, a manslaughtering abuser, a murderous homosexual manipulative child. There is a hostess prostitute, an occult-obsessed salaryman, a lolicon-obsessed otaku to the point of murder, like the majority of these characters, a spineless cheater, a manslaughtering abuser, and a murderous homosexual, along with a mysterious manipulative child. And I can't really expand on talking about these psychos much, because that'd be treading into spoiler territory, which I am very well known in like my friend circle that I don't give a shit about talking about spoilers, but if I'm willing to entice a few of those to feel that DokuMushi is a manga worth reading, then go into it unspoiled. Okay, did you leave? All right, we're good. I didn't write any of this in, by the way. I fuck it. I'll go into. Basically, the hostess is. What the fuck? Anyways, the hostess was, well, a hostess. Their entire goal is to get you to spend more money and get drunk, but she is willing to go the extra mile to sleep with all of her customers to get more money for her young brother, and she eventually gets out of the Yakuza debt that her parents got them into. But the Yakuza member, ends up almost killing her brother, and then he almost rapes her and fucking extend, which happens a lot, frighteningly. Then the brother gets up and he stabs the Yakuza member, killing both of them. For the occult-obsessed salaryman, he was the one that discovered what a Dokumushi is, and that is when you gather a bunch of poisonous insects and you put them in a jar and they fight to the death. The last one standing is the one used for like a poisonous curse. He did that on his teacher, getting his teacher killed when he was like maybe 8, and he also murdered a young suicidal woman, which is awesome. Lolicon otaku, if you don't know what lolicons are, they're people that are fucking obsessed with lollies, which are basically young children, mostly girls, young female girls that are she's the 5,000-year-old Your Honor, she's not a 9-year-old, she's a 5,000-year-old dragon, so it's okay. That's what a lolicon is. And then the Shotokan is the reverse of it. Your Honor, he's actually a 9,000-year-old wolf, so it's A-okay. So yeah, that's basically the long and short of that bullshit. He ends up killing the girl that he was obsessed with, and now he's trying to find that girl. Because he's fucking creepy. A spineless cheater, self-explanatory. A manslaughtering abuser, self-explanatory, and a murderous homosexual. That one was the weirdest to read because she's like the second person to die. In essence, exactly what her tagline is. I remember none of these characters' names because I hated all of them. When she was like in middle school, her upperclassmen did some not so fun shit, but she ended up liking that not so fun shit, and they kept doing it until she was dropped like a cheap soup. She was basically just left high and dry, in essence. That's the best way I can explain it. Oh yeah, and then she goes to murder her upperclassman's new fling. That doesn't work out, and it ends up getting the upperclassman run over by a train. Yeah, that's basically the long and short. I'm just rattling this shit off like it's a Monday night. Jesus Christ. What is a Monday afternoon at the time of recording? God damn. And like in the order that they end up dying is really off. It's the manslaughtering abuser. He gets killed by a guy's paracord choking him out. In a very ingenious method, actually. The murderous homosexual ties it to her wrists, loops around his neck, and jumps off the third floor stairwell and ends up breaking his back and choking him on the stairway. And then our main character, the spineless cheater, who really is a piece of shit, has to walk him around the edge after holding onto his legs so she doesn't break her ass on the fucking floor. Yeah, he dies first. Then it's the murderous homosexual who loses her mind and goes absolutely bonkers trying to get with the hostess prostitute, who is actually my favorite character in all of this. She ends up going crazy trying to protect her in any way possible, so she tries to kill the main character. The main character actually blacks out, and the occult-obsessed salaryman actually kills her, places the blade in the main character's hand, and blames him for her death. So then everybody believes it was her, or believes that the main character killed her. And so he's left on suspicious watch until he decides to just fuck off from that room. And then the Lolicon Otaku is the next to go. It's a very weird, like, really quick moment. It's the Lolicon Otaku. He gets, like, chopped up around his gut, and that was glorious because he was being enticed by the prostitute. It's, like, probably my favorite fucking scene, actually. He's getting enticed physically by the prostitute, I'll put it. And then the prostitute ends up hitting his gut with the knife, and everything spills out, and he actually busts a nut at that moment. It's fucking hilarious. I have a fucked up sense of humor. Leave me alone. And then it is the hostess prostitute. Then it's the occult-obsessed salaryman. And then it's left between the lolicon and the main character because, surprise, surprise, Dokomushi hasn't been fully translated in English, where I believe there's 19 chapters left. I believe there's 50 chapters. Only 31 of them have been translated into English. So I'm actually going to be watching this every now and then to check up on it and see when the next thing gets posted. Now, for the burning question, is Dokomushi actually worth reading? Yes and no. It definitely isn't great quality-wise by any stretch of the imagination. But hold on. I got a Bible of JoJo's right here, part 1, volume 3. Here we go. This is what I'm going to use to protect myself. I actually enjoyed myself with this. Now, put down your phones. Don't dial Chris Hansen on me yet. Hold on. I absolutely love gory for the sake of gory shows and movies like Corpse Party and Terrorizer. Terrorizer is one of my favorite horror movies, and I just marvel at the practical effects in that film. And when reading this, in essence, it is definitely like a shock and horror manga through and through. That's like the point of it. And I didn't find it as bad as one would when watching like the goriest erotic splatter film, mostly because of probable desensitization. Thank you, Rotten.com. And the disconnection from reality, since it is just a manga drawn by one creatively sick bastard, Yasu Michio, and no real person is being directly harmed, only their mental stability. Pretentious fucked up dickhead. Dokomushi doesn't have a really stark or standout style, which, if it did, would probably make the experience a lot better for the average horror manga reader. But the art style within Dokomushi is not vindicative of a horror nor splatter series, which gives it a really odd edge, kind of like Elfenlied, where the subject matter does not equate to the art style. Normally, that would kill everybody's enjoyment, and it'd just be a fucked up shit for the sake of fucked up shit, shock as value. I'm going to leave that in, even though that was a mistake. even though it's a fucked up shit for the sake of fucked up shit at shock value series. But for me, it kind of works. Again, I love that super dark and gory, gritty shit just for the sake of it, and I also love when nothing is held back. I don't know why, but despite what would seem like a large setback as in writing quality and overall quality, I want to weight this on two scales: a personal enjoyment scale and an objective scale. I'll be leaning on both since, again, the manga isn't fully translated into English, so I don't know the ending yet. And with that in mind, I objectively give Dokomushi a 4 out of 10. It's really bad with a shocking taboo content for the sake of shocking taboo content. But I know I'll be going back and rereading it in the future just for the super detailed, gore, and gruesome content. And I guess sadly, depending on your viewpoint, I give Dokomushi a 7 out of 10 on my personal enjoyment scale. God, I need to go to therapy. If you enjoyed any part of this video, I don't know why you would, leave a like and subscribe. Bye.